The first leaves had just started to fall in Chestnut Hollow, a quiet little town nestled between the wooded hills and an old, winding river. It was the kind of place where people knew each other's names, where change came slowly, if it came at all. Mara and Eliza Hawthorne were sisters born 2 years apart, but as different as dusk and dawn. Mara, the elder, was composed, methodical, a schoolteacher with a love for poetry and quiet mornings. Eliza was wild-spirited, impulsive, drawn to late nights and the color red. They had grown up close, even in their differences, bound by the memories of a childhood shaped by the sudden death of their mother and their father's slow retreat into silence. Despite the pain, they had each other. When Noah Calder arrived in Chestnut Hollow, he didn't come with much. A duffel bag, a camera, and a smile that made you feel like you'd known him in another life. He said he was a writer, renting a cabin for the season to find inspiration. He met Mara first, when he wandered into her classroom to volunteer for the reading program. He met Eliza 2 days later, at the local bar where she worked evenings and spun old records between serving drink. Neither sister spoke of him to the other. Mara fell slowly. It started with coffee on her lunch break, when Noah would sit across from her in the staff lounge and ask about her favorite book. He seemed curious, deeply interested in her world. She hadn't felt seen in years. He told her she was quiet brilliance. He made her believe it. Eliza, on the other hand, fell like lightning, fast, reckless, and burning. Noah listened when she ranted about her fear of becoming just another waitress in a town where nothing ever changes. He touched her hand when she talked about her dreams of running away to New York. He kissed her behind the bar after closing one night, and she didn't ask questions. Noah never brought up his other life to either of them. He was careful. He called Mara darling and read her poetry in the park. He told Eliza she was the storm he never saw coming, and took photographs of her under neon signs. Neither sister suspected the other. It was a small town, but secrets have a way of slipping through even the tightest fingers. Mara found a photograph tucked in the back of Noah's notebook. Eliza, laughing, her hair tangled in wind, his initials scrawled beneath the image. She didn't confront him. Instead, she carried the photo in her coat pocket for 3 weeks, waiting for him to explain. Eliza noticed Noah pulling away, less affection, more excuses. She assumed he was bored of her, like everyone eventually was. Until she caught sight of them, Noah and Mara, walking too close together by the riverbank, sharing the look he once gave her. The truth wasn't shouted. It fell in fragments. "You're with him. I thought you knew." "No. No, Mara. I didn't know." The betrayal wasn't just romantic, it was blood deep. It made everything that came before feel like a lie. Noah didn't deny it. He played both sides with the same tired charm. "I didn't mean to hurt either of you," he said to them, separately. "You're both incredible in your own ways." To Mara, he said, she was just a distraction. To Eliza, he said, she was always too safe. "You make me feel." They were both tired of being lied to. For a moment, they turned on each other. Old resentments surfaced. Childhood rivalries, who got more attention, who always played it safe or took too many risks. They yelled, cried, stopped speaking. That silence hurt more than Noah's betrayal. But time has a way of softening edges, and the truth, ugly, raw, has a strange power to heal. It was Mara who showed up at Eliza's door one rainy morning, carrying the photograph. "I never should have hidden this from you," she said. Eliza nodded, her eyes tired but open. "We let him make us strangers." They sat on the couch, legs tucked under them like children, and talked. About him. About how he made them feel. About how easy it was to want to believe in something when you've been lonely for too long. By the end of the day, Noah was nothing more than a shadow, an echo between them. He left town not long after, his cabin empty and his promises scattered like leaves in the wind. He'd taken something from each of them, yes, but he also gave them something back. The truth about how deeply they still needed each other. Months passed. Mara went back to teaching, and Eliza began taking night classes in photography. They never talked much about Noah again. Not because they forgot, but because they chose to remember something more important. They remembered how easy it is to fall, and how much stronger you are when someone helps you stand back up. Because some loves are fleeting, but sisterhood, when mended, can outlast even the worst storms. It had been 9 months since Noah Calder disappeared from Chestnut Hollow. Life resumed in quiet, manageable rhythms. Mara planted tomatoes in the backyard. Eliza started a photography blog. They lived separately but close, bound now by something harder to define, fragile forgiveness and a promise to protect each other, no matter what. Then the letter arrived. It was addressed to the Hawthorne sisters in a rough, familiar script. No return address. Mara opened it first. You both deserved the truth. I'm sorry I never gave it to you. I thought about coming back, but I didn't know how to fix what I broke. There's something I never told either of you, something important. If you want answers, come to the cabin. I left it all behind. There was no signature. Just GPS coordinates and a date, August 3rd. Eliza came over that night. The letter spread across the kitchen table like an old wound reopened. Do you think it's real? She asked. I don't know, Mara said. But I think we should go. The cabin hadn't changed. Dust-covered windows. A crooked porch swing still hanging by one chain. They half expected Noah to be there, leaning in the doorway with that lopsided smile. Inside they found boxes, journals, photographs, recordings on old cassette tapes labeled M+E. He had documented everything, his relationships with both of them, notes on their personalities, manipulation strategies, as if they were characters in a novel he never intended to finish. He was writing about us, Eliza whispered. Not just emotionally. Literally. We were his story. Mara flipped through one of the journals, stunned to find her own words scribbled on the pages, things she'd said in confidence, in intimacy. Every moment, every kiss, analyzed like data points. It was clinical, cold, obsessive. A manuscript sat at the bottom of the box. Title: The Echoes Between Us. Author: Noah Calder. It wasn't a love story. It was an experiment. They took the manuscript and burned it that night in the fire pit behind the cabin. Not in rage, but in grief. For what could have been real. For the pieces of themselves they gave to someone who saw them as content instead of people. And yet, even in that fire, questions lingered. I think he meant to come back, Mara said. He wanted us to find all this. Or he wanted to be found, Eliza replied. Like some tragic genius who thinks heartbreak makes him important. But Mara noticed something strange in the ash, the corner of a photograph that hadn't fully burned. It was new. Not from the time they knew him. It was of Eliza. Taken just 2 weeks ago. They reported it to the sheriff, but there wasn't much that could be done. Noah hadn't technically committed a crime. He'd vanished, again, this time leaving behind more ghosts than before. Eliza started locking her windows. Mara bought a camera for her porch. The piece they had rebuilt now trembled under paranoia. But it wasn't just fear. It was anger. And purpose. He's still writing, Mara said one day. Then maybe it's our turn to finish the story, Eliza said. The sisters decided to publish the truth. Their version. Not Noah's manuscript, but a memoir. They called it What Comes Back. It wasn't polished, but it was raw and honest. It told of love, betrayal, sisterhood, and the damage done by a man who treated emotions like tools. They used his words against him. His journal quotes. His letters. His manipulation laid bare. The book gained traction, first locally, then online. Women reached out. Some had known men like Noah. Some had known Noah himself. He was in Seattle, one email said. He went by Nathan. Same tricks. Same camera. The sisters gathered it all, evidence, testimony, patterns. They started a podcast, a network, a movement. Noah wanted to be the author of their pain. Instead, He became the footnote to their strength. They returned to the cabin, not for closure but to reclaim it. Eliza stood by the old porch swing, her camera slung over her shoulder. Mara sat on the steps, reading aloud a new poem she'd written. Noah Calder had disappeared again. Maybe he'd surface one day. Maybe not. But this time, they weren't waiting. Because some stories don't belong to the men who cause the pain. Some stories belong to the women who survive it, and tell it better.